Okay, Practice Hero. Practice Hero is a practice strategy game, all right? And your student will most likely not come home with this packet per se, but they will come home with one of the game boards. So some of the game boards have activities on each of these white little yelling voice markings here, all right? So it's like a comic book. And some of them are empty, all right? So if your student comes home with them empty, most likely we will have talked about some ideas that they could write in here, or they will already be written in there because that's what we spent our lesson time doing, writing in different ideas of how to practice. So what you can do, or really what you need to know that they're doing, there's 3 different options or methods that they can use Practice Hero to do. So you will need to have this laying out on a table, most likely where nearby where they're practicing, because they will use this throughout the week. So it's like a game board, and it says start here. And either I can send home a little toy with them, or they can use whatever they want. But the first method is to roll a dice each day and move forward. So if they go 3, they're going to land on this one that says name and explain all the dynamics and markings. So your student should know what dynamics are and what these markings are. And if they don't, you need to email me. So we need to review that. But at this level, your students will know what they are. So at that point, their little guy is going to be on this one. They're going to go through all of their music and say what all of these dynamic markings are. Now, if you want to be a lot more participatory in their practice time, you could have them explain that to you. So you could say, okay, you're naming and explaining all the dynamic markings, and maybe you don't know what they are, so you're going to say, tell me what these are, and explain them to me. So that's one method of that, and they're gonna try to be making it to the end of this by the end of their week of lessons. Okay. The other method is to put this put this up by their practice spot. They're gonna have their game marker here, and they're gonna roll the die each day for their assignments. So in the first case, it was just for one book, but say they have scales. They're working on flashcards. They're working on 2 songs. So there's 4 different assignments they have that week. In that case, they might need 4 different markers. So you would have a button and an eraser and a quarter and a safety pin or something. So in that case, like the safety pin is going to be for one song. They're going to move that safety pin after they've rolled the dice. And in this one, it says play as quietly as you can. So on that song, they'd play as quietly as they could. Maybe this eraser guy is going to represent their scales. So they're going to roll the dice, and in that one, they land on, let's see, what would work good for scales? Play as slowly as you can. So that's right here, play as slowly as you can. Then they would do their scales as slowly as possible, which is pretty much opposite of what we're usually doing. So it kind of really varies their practice and makes them think about their songs differently. All right, and then you can also use the boards one more way. You can place the game little marker plate thing on the beginning of your board and move forward 1 at a time. So instead of rolling the dice, they're just going to be moving every day. They're going to be moving to a different one. So in that case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And there's only a week of practice. So that means they're going to need to do several a day. But in this case, there won't be any ones that they skip. All right. So in this case, every day they're going to be doing, or every week they're going to be doing all of these without skipping them. Does that make sense? So they're not going to be rolling random numbers. They're going to do the first one and the second one, and then maybe tomorrow they'll do 3, and then the third day they'll do 4, and so on. So these are all different. This includes recording yourself. This is one of the challenges. So that is another one that you as a parent could be involved in, recording them. You can use it as a game and say, hey, we're going to record your practice and send it to Aunt so-and-so or Grandma or whatever. So that is how Practice Hero works. There's tons of different game boards that they can trade every week. So if they get one game board home one week, I can trade them the next week for a new one that has totally different challenges.